Oh, hello everyone. So today is I'm just represent the SCG. Just about our company. So SCG is a company with the three business units that we do have a business on cement and building material, and we also have the SCG chemicals to produce the plastic resin and also the packaging for paper packaging. Okay, so we do have the vision in terms of sustainability and innovation, and we do have the SCG circular way that we try to link. That's just what it's related to what the topic that we are talking today. Because when we're talking about the circularity, so we need a lot to do, right? So from the this one that I mentioned before in some other talk, we're talking about the integration of the system that is required to create the circular economy. So the policy that you guys already heard about, and also some of the business model, and of course the technology and innovation that require. And besides that, you need to make people aware because it's not just you to create the circular ecosystem. The consumer also play a very important role. And of course, from the consumer, so you have to collect and sort that kind of circular material and bring it back to create a different or a new material, which require the upcycling concept and also the logistic that link to that. And definitely all the material that has to be processed has to be able to kind of easier to design for it to have the recyclability. Okay, so these are the key things that from our point of view is what's important. And how SCG is doing it. We are working, of course, not by ourselves. So we believe in collaboration and we think we need friends. So the friends from international side to provide some support in terms of the funding technology and of course the learning, because everything is quite new for the circular economy, not just for Thailand, but it's also for the global level as well. I think everyone is trying to work with each other on that. And of course, as our colleague, the policy is very, very important and the knowledge. And besides the friend from abroad, we also work with friend in Thailand. So at the national level, we create some kind of a pilot model to implement and to learn in terms of some infrastructure intervention and some of the policy link with some innovation in order to change the life, end of life of the plastic. And of course, how to make it very cost effective. Logistic within the national level is very important factor. And of course, more friends, not just to work with our national friend, including the government and the public-private sector. We also need friends from the business part because we do we call closed loop, as you heard from many of our friends earlier about the closed loop project that we've been working together with many friends. So I will give you some example of these kind of four category. And the last one is also about the community. It's very important issue because when we're talking about bring the plastic back, so you involve a lot of people, and of course the community around you or within the country also play a very vital role. And for SCG side, we starting from our own knowledge building, right? We start with our own employee. So start from us, and then learn how to utilize the waste, and we know how to separate. And of course, we need to put it in the right bin. So that is the first, a very, very tiny point that we try to work with our employee. And of course, as I mentioned earlier about bring in the international, like we work with the UNEP, of course, and also with other organizations. Just bring the knowledge from abroad and also for SCG and for the nation, because we not just work by ourselves, and it's not just for business, it's also for improving the country capability in terms of the waste management. And this is the concept of the international. And like I mentioned earlier, that we work a lot with the UN South and also the UNEP that's been trying to promote what is circular economy and how it is important in terms of the mass of public with the symposium. But then it's not enough for us. So we think that to work together with many sector, we also work abroad with. I just want to introduce the Alliance to End Plastic Waste. So it's comprised of a kind of 57 companies join force together, and actually they are supporting many projects, about 19 projects already across the globe. And for Thailand, we also helping together with the Federal Federation of Thai Industry and the Public and Private Partnership (PPP). So we work in order to apply for funding. So it means we allow the chance for the international to come in, because the most important for circular economy downstream is to create the system, including the infrastructure and of course some of the conversion, which is related to the technology that I will talk about later. So for the project in Thailand, actually we received for about 58 million baht from the alliance. It's ongoing contract is been kind of finalized, and the money will be transferred to us to do some pilot about the conversion of the kind of the utilization of plastic. And of course, within the Mega City project in Klong Thoi area of Bangkok, and of course in Rayong province, in order to implement some kind of project uh, related to the intervention of the infrastructure and learning about the support that we may need within this city. So this is part of the project that is ongoing. So with the alliance, it's not just the funding, but it's also help to bring in the knowledge, because of the knowledge from many partners, like I mentioned earlier. So these are the scope that require the need, especially related to the technology. When you're talking about collection, sorting, and of course the advanced recovery and recycling, and the design for circularity, and of course, how can you create the market value from the recyclate? And definitely awareness of people cannot be ignored, because you need to understand the societal behavior in order to change and bring them to educate them in terms of how to do the sorting better, what's the benefit for them. So the knowledge I'm talking about here is you can see that the various type of technology that related into these kind of 5 categories. And of course, we not just doing it with the alliance, but they also working with many organizations like USAID, GIZ, and the UN Habitat and other. So a lot more that's been working together. And the technology I'm talking about is also, this is just example. Like within the alliance, they do kind of initiate, we call it a plug and play, which is a startup, and some of the technology that related to the waste infrastructure. Okay, so you can see that the different category here, these are the name of the company. I think our colleague in the later talk will mention about this thing more than me. This is just some example that we also gain from being friends with international and ask for some help and work together. Okay. So I just want to go into another category of the national. So within the national itself, so we are trying to kind of learning from the national with the project of the PPP, public-private partnership. And we do focus on infrastructure and the consumer behavior change. So we start with some project already that working in Klong Thoi area. And of course, some of the learning there can be transformed to the new phase of bringing more technology. Okay, so with the technology from learning of those phase 1, so we already learned that there are some gap, and we already established some kind of full submodel. like department store, hotel, office, and also the small hospital. And these gaps can be closed with the technology. I will go quickly because to have the understanding of the end of life of this kind of waste material, you have to create a new life. And of course, some of the policy and how can we help people to sort better. And of course, the convenience and definitely the key important one is the business model. So within the new project, we will work with a different sector in order to bring in the research on the motivation, like the suggestion from the previous talk. We also bring in the learning from the how to motivate people. We will put some intervention of the infrastructure of the drop off. And of course, one of the technology that will be very important is the digital platform that will link this and bring including the market itself for the plastic waste, the alternative trading, and of course the training and create awareness. So this is just so one of our many projects that SCG has been working on. And within the community, just to share with you that you can go into this link of the ebook of Waste to Wealth. We work with many community that they already have a lot of successful case that been working with the community and create the money because they are the key group of people that will help us expand and link into the circular ecosystem. Okay, and this is just example that SCG has been working on with many sector about the prototype communities on different part of Thailand. Okay, and of course create awareness for try to utilize this kind of waste just to create the better environment is also part of it. Okay, and I think for us, it's like this is a business part that we also work together with AIT and Bill and Melinda Gates because water is also part of the circular economy in the future as well, not just plastic. So just to mention that. This is the example of the plastic road. So I'm just go very quick about the digital platform that we already implement and try to expand more. Okay. And some of these that we've been working with, like with some of the private sector to create a new life for the fishing net, for the share, and some other thing. So the technology that we try to finish up is like the recycling technology besides mechanical recycling. Of course, chemical recycling is also part of within our study. But at the moment, as everyone mentioned, that it will take a few years. So, but for us, we might be working on this as well. And the technology mostly will involve with the waste management. So you can see that from the logistics service, from the drop-off side, and of course, how can you convert the food waste, which is play a very important part. So most technology will come to us. You will start to see it more like talking about the bin, and of course, these are the cost reduction as autonomous driven truck, and of course, the electronic device to link with the garbage collection and more of those. And of course, the conversion of the plastic material. These are a lot of technology that we'll bring in terms of implementation on some for the suitable one. Okay, not all of this will fit with all. So I think we will touch base on just this technology in terms of the collection. And of course, finally, I think the green chemistry is also part of our thing that we need to think about because some of the material cannot be recycled. We have to think from the beginning. I think that's all for me.